Welcome to episode 2 of Penn and Sadie Save the World.
Penn and Sadie save the world. Penn and Sadie save the world.
Lots have happened this week, these last 2 weeks.
Yes, a lot. Has it been 2 weeks since we recorded our last one?
It's been 2 weeks, yeah. We're doing like every other week, Penn and Sadie Save the World, and then weekly podcast of the week.
We're on what? We're YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, and
Yep.
thank you for listening if you are. If you're listening right now,
Thanks for
thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Unless you're a Democrat. You hate watching me right now? Are you seriously hate watching me right now? What are you doing?
Did you see Trump's arch?
Arch.
We're getting a new 250th Birthday of America monument in Washington, D.C. across from the Lincoln Memorial.
Like a full, whole-on monument.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. I bet you Trump pays for it too. But, you know, of course the libs are pissed. Liberals are losing their minds in their replies at the mere thought of building something beautiful rather than, I don't know, an ugly sculpture of a rectum for AIDS or whatever.
That's hilarious. Yeah, these are I think we described them last week, Becky's. They're going to be mad no matter what. If they can find a reason to be upset and mad about it, they will. I think it's cool. It's probably about time for another monument.
Yeah, what's the last monument that was built? Probably like Martin Luther King or something, right?
I have no idea, but I think it'd be cool to be able to say, I was there. I wanted to, imagine in 10, 15, 20 years, you take your kids to see this monument. I remember when this wasn't here. It's just from our generation that we built this. It's the 250th birthday. That is a pretty meaningful birthday. That's a long time. And people always cite it as the deadline of a civilization or whatever. So we're coming up on the cusp of make it or break it.
Yeah, dude, I want a monument to these last, almost decade of our lives. Like, it means so much more when you think of it that way. Since 2015, being a Trump supporter, man, we deserve a monument.
We do. We deserve a MAGA monument. A statue of Trump somewhere in D.C. I don't know if we'll have to wait till he dies. I don't know what the typical standard is. But if any president has deserved one, it's him, for sure.
I really would be open to, like, a fifth head chiseled into Mount Rushmore.
Is that possible, do you think? I've looked at the stone before. I don't know if you can you fit it? I guess it could happen.
We can fit it.
Well, we're gonna
We'll move more mountain in if we have to.
Never say no.
Yeah, for real.
We can make this happen.
Right. We're America, dude. We can figure it out.
You always see the pictures close up of it, and then you see the pictures from way far back, and it's not as big as you think. But it is huge.
No. I was surprised. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
Yeah, I was surprised when I rolled up on it because, you go to Mount Rushmore and then, like, down the way is the Crazy Horse Monument that they've been building for, like, 50 years or whatever. And it's, like, 5 times the size.
This is the Crazy Horse Memorial in South Dakota, and it's home to the largest mountain carving in the world. It's been under construction for 75 years, and when it's done, all 4 heads from Mount Rushmore will fit in the sculpture's hairline.
Like a hangar or something there? Or like some sort of facility at Mount Rushmore? On the back of
Are you thinking of the Disney feature film National Treasure with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. There's a room you can go see through the eyes of each of the presidents. That'd be so cool.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so.
We can make it happen.
Right.
MAGA
sure.
headquarters needs to be inside the Trump carving.
Dude, that's probably the best. Yeah. Yes. Like a superhero lair.
That's where we need to.
That's where we broadcast from. James Comey. Dude, James Comey has officially pled not guilty to 2 felony federal charges of making false statements and obstructing a congressional proceeding.
Director James Comey in front of a judge moments ago in a hearing that we did not think would last long, and apparently that is the case. He has entered a plea of not guilty to 2 charges, federal level now. Our producers inside the courtroom say the former director accused of lying to Congress, obstructing a congressional proceeding, entered the plea moments ago in front of the judge, Michael Nachmanoff, appointed by Joe Biden. Not guilty on both federal charges. He's accused of lying in front of Congress back in 2020.
It's a taste of their own medicine. I think it's funny that these are the same people that nobody's above the law. What are we? We're going to start prosecuting our political opponents now, which is very rich, considering they threw the book at everyone from Trump's last administration.
It's interesting that nobody's, like, talking about this. though. Like these are two felony federal charges for lying to Congress. Like, doesn't seem like anybody really gives a shit. I've seen more reporting on Letitia James in the last 2 weeks than, Comey actually entering a plea of not guilty on felony charges.
I think this is probably the type of case where you could charge a lot of people for this, but they typically don't bring charges because of optics or because of political reasons. It'll be interesting to see how this resolves, because at this point it is just an indictment, and that's not the most meaningful thing. We could see nothing happen after this. Typically, they don't even indict. They don't even investigate. We don't really see this type of charge play out. So, well, if this goes in front of a jury, it'll be very interesting to see. The person Comey is accused of authorizing to leak about an FBI investigation is only called Person 3 in the court documents. Person 3 is Comey's longtime friend and Columbia Law School professor, Daniel Richman. How do they know that?
False statements within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the United States government. On or about September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant, James B. Comey Jr., did willfully and knowingly make materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to a U.S. Senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James B. Comey Jr., had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. And Person 1 is supposed to be Hillary Clinton. That statement was false because, as James B. Comey Jr. then and there knew, he in fact had authorized Person 3 to serve as an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. Count 2, obstruction of a congressional proceeding. On or about September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant, James B. Comey Jr., did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee.
I thought I saw a tweet. I don't know if this is legitimate or not, but that some FBI agent had been fired because he refused to go arrest James Comey. But he
refused to perp walk him specifically.
Well, so does that mean that they did make the arrest? Because I haven't heard about an actual arrest being made.
I don't think they actually went for the arrest.
Well, I would think if you fire an FBI agent for doing that, you would just send an agent that is willing to do it. That's why I think that it was just kind of like I think it was more like signaling in the media than an actual incident. You know what I mean? Because I agree. You just find the guy to go do it. And I'm certain that there are more people who have lied to Congress than James Comey. Than just
Fauci. Where's Fauci?
Yeah. Although Fauci got a pardon, did he not?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true, right?
James Comey didn't get on the pardon list.
James Comey missed the pardon list.
But then again, those pardons are being questioned. I don't think we've gotten any updates on those, but it'll be interesting to see if any of those pardons are honored.
Well, the auto pen keeps popping up, right? Yeah. So it's going to be about that, really. Trump's auto pen. He has got the Hall of Presidents at the White House, and then he has Biden's is just the auto pen. Which I think is funny. Is a serious big deal, and more people should be aware of exactly what was happening. I mean, it is hilarious how everything that we've been accused of, the Democrats did. I mean, they were going to 25th Amendment Trump because they disagreed with him, and then elected a man who could not even do the job remotely. I mean, he was sleeping all day every time he came on camera, even actually up until the debate where he had his performance that forced him out. Until then, I remember they were saying, oh, it's a conspiracy theory that he's not well. Of course he's fine. He's perfectly sound of mind. And then the debate performance happened and they couldn't pretend anymore because everyone had seen it. Well, remember after that, first of all, I should say that he did start undergoing treatment for prostate cancer today. And because we're not degenerate assholes like people on the left are, like, we do wish the best for President Biden as he goes through his prostate treatment. But like after the debate where he totally shit the bed, don't forget that they had to like set him up for his big boy press conference, which is the thing that made them actually pull the plug.
Thank you. Please be seated. I directed the intelligence community to be a significant amount of intelligence be declassified. Second, our efforts to secure the border, southern border, is working. With that, I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here. I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. We've created over 800,000 manufacturing jobs, 1.5 million. So things are moving. Look, guys, the idea anybody suggests that look, folks, this is well, anyway.
We had done a tier list of potential replacements or of scary candidates a few weeks before. And at the top of that list, we had said it would be easiest if we faced Kamala.
Yep. Which don't worry, we're gonna get to some Kamala clips here in a second.
Oh,
so, did you see that our tariff revenue has been directed to fund the Women and Children's program during the government shutdown?
As promised, breaking moments ago, more than $200 billion coming into the coffers in tariffs, and now we're learning where some of that money will go. The White House has just announced that the Women and Children food program will not be cut off while the government is shut down.
What if the government never opens again? What if this is the plan? What if this is the trust the plan moment we've been waiting for?
Regarding the government shutdown, I keep seeing Democrats trying to blame Republicans for it, as if they can convince people that we already have the votes to open the government, but just won't. We're 5 votes away. It's 55-45 last I saw, which means that we need 5 more votes to open up the government. And the Democrats are the ones who are panic saying we have to open up the government. Yet they're the ones who continue to vote no. They're the ones voting against the resolution. And they're demanding concessions from the side that already has the majority. These are the Democrats that want the majority to rule, and they're demanding that the minority gets a say. Because they're all about power. They're not about any sort of principle. They're the ones voting against these resolutions. The same one they voted for 15 times before. So the government shutdown is clearly on the Democrats, and I am surprised that they are digging their heels in so hard. Especially in the face of the sombrero memes. I thought it was hilarious when JD Vance said, if you guys reopen the government, I promise you, the sombrero memes will stop.
So the president's been posting some images of Leader Jeffries and Senator Schumer.
I saw
recently. You've said that you're interested in good faith negotiations with these leaders, but what message does that send? Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny. The president's joking, and we're having a good time. You can negotiate in good faith while also poking a little bit of fun at some of the absurdities of the Democrats' positions, and even, poking some fun at the absurdity of the Democrats themselves. I mean, I'll tell Hakeem Jeffries right now, I make this solemn promise to you that if you help us reopen the government, the sombrero memes will stop. And I've talked to the President of the United States about that.
Did you see that there's like a mass firing started last night?
No, but this was about the time that the people who took that 9-month deal when Trump got into office were supposed to leave. Is that what we're talking about with mass firing?
Right. Yeah, well, I think so. Like, I think that's probably the reasonable explanation for it, even though that's obviously not how it's being framed on the internet today.
Yeah, because I remember thinking, housing will be cheaper in the D.C. area once all these federal employees leave.
It's this Russ Voigt, the architect of Project 2025. Right. That is the architect of these mass firings.
How much of Project 2025 did we get done?
I know. We're going to have to change it to 26 and be like, just kidding, dorks.
Project 2025, which I still see people on the left mentioning. And of course, you and I remember Trump's platform was Agenda 47. It was all over his website. If you wanted to see what Trump was running on, it was very clear. It's called Agenda 47. Project 2025 was only ever referenced by Democrats. It came from a Republican think tank called the Heritage Foundation. It was 900 pages. And they're stunned that there was overlap between Agenda 47 and Project 2025. And that was their evidence that Project 2025 was Trump's secret agenda. I'd be curious if we went back, and maybe we'll do this in another episode, but to actually look at Project 2025 and see how much of it is actually being implemented. They're still talking about it because it's a buzzword for the left now. They hear Project 2025 and they get scared. they start freaking out and they react emotionally to it. It's a 900-page document that nobody has read. You and I have probably read more of it when we looked at it last year, just out of curiosity, than any of these people have. They hear about it from CNN, MSNBC, and all these other left-wing outlets. I've never heard anyone on the MAGA side of politics mention Project 2025 outside of the context of dismissing it and not really addressing it. This is not our platform. This is just the Heritage Foundation put out a 900-page document called Project 2025. And I'm sure there's a lot in there that I agree with. I'm sure there's things that I don't agree with. It's 900 pages. It's from a Republican think tank.
I know that there's stuff in there that Trump doesn't agree with because they are like incredibly anti-abortion, right? So we already know that there's like a major part of the platform that Trump himself doesn't agree with and isn't going to implement. And I believe that he isn't going to implement, as much as we would like to see that happen. It's ridiculous.
Do you think, and I just want to ask you this, do you think, because I remember Trump said this during the campaign, and it was something that never sat well with me, and still doesn't, but he said that if an abortion ban came to his desk as president, that he would veto it. Do you think he actually
did say that?
would?
No.
Because if we get an abortion ban through the House and through the Senate, that's a pretty tall order. That's not something that just happens very easily. So for him to block it at that point would be very... What's the purpose of that? I think that it's something that he says during the campaign because it's kind of unfathomable that during his term we would pass a bill like this. I think if we were going to pass one through Congress, it's going to happen after we move more culturally on the question. But I hope that he wouldn't. But it also probably won't be. This will remain a hypothetical throughout his term.
Was it not like the hardest signal he threw out there that he wasn't anti-abortion though? I mean, that's all the Democrats had, right? So him like getting out there and being like, oh, and if they even did bring it to my desk, I wouldn't sign it. I think we all know that's bullshit. I think that's like, one of those bets he's willing to throw out and a promise he's willing to make because there's no way fathomable that it would get to his desk. But I think that if it was something especially as like big and cultural as that, he would have no choice but to, follow the will of the people. Right.
It kind of reminds me of how Supreme Court justices will take hypotheticals and not really answer them to the because you don't actually know the specifics of a case. You might get a hypothetical and then there's a couple of variables different in the case, and now you're on the record saying how you'd vote. He probably shouldn't. If all we cared about was truth, probably shouldn't have even answered that hypothetical. But I think because of the campaign circumstances, like you mentioned, it probably does make sense that was just an easy position to take because it's not going to happen. I hope it does happen.
Literally, like what
ban nationally. That's just me.
What else were they running on? Like, what else was the 2024 Democratic platform about besides abortion? Right?
It really just was anti-Trump.
Anti-Trump, and they're going to take away your right to abort children. That's all we heard.
I don't even think that they had a strong Israel-Palestine plan.
No, they had nothing because they were so terrified of taking any position on anything. Like, she was just the most whitewashed candidate that the Democrats had put up in years, which is funny. POC, first VP woman, the most whitewashed candidate the Democrats put up.
She was unbelievable. So was Tim Walz, who is still just making an absolute fool of himself. I think he's shot himself in the foot of any future run he wants to make. Although I do think that people see him as just kind of a ridiculous choice. I'm surprised in hindsight that he was the choice. It feels like a lot of these other candidates would have made more sense. But then again, and we said this at the time, Kamala probably approached a number of potential future candidates for the Democrat Party, and they said, I'm not jumping into this with 3 months with you. I've built my entire career. I didn't suck my way to the top. I'm not going to throw it all away for a 3-month campaign that is, at most optimistic, still bound to lose.
Did you see what she said about Pete, Mayor Pete?
Oh, that she couldn't pick him because he was gay.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
That's so base that she's homophobic when she's drunk. But yeah, Russ Voigt, the architect of Project 2025, said, who's now the White House budget director, he announced that the administration has begun firing federal workers en masse. Vogt warned last week that consequential layoffs were forthcoming amid the ongoing government shutdown. On Friday, he tweeted, the RIFs have begun.
Well, it's something that just on its face, I support. Everyone's always known the government's bloated. They overspend. They have, employees working remotely that don't really do anything. A reduction in force. These are things that happen in the private sector, but in the government, there's endless funding. They can just always get more money. This isn't something that on its face I get upset about. Nobody's entitled to a government job. Your position with our government is not about you or making you comfortable or your, the mortgage that you have. You either serve a purpose and a role with our government that is useful or you don't. And I think a lot of people can acknowledge that many of these positions are just bloated. It's just like bloated departments, useless departments, redundant departments. This is a step in the right direction. Government spending is our biggest problem. It's like when they talk about, I'm trying to think of how to say this, but they'll talk about taxing the rich, right? And the wealthiest taxpayers, $10 billion is the higher end of taxes that they'll pay annually. So if we wanted to tax the rich, if we wanted to tax the rich, literally doubling their tax burden to $20 billion, this is their solution to the problem. Yet when Doge will save 40, 50 billion, that's just a fraction of a percent of our spending. Well, what's the point of even doing that? They're looking for this money. They're looking for it when they want to tax the rich. Oh, we just need to tax the rich more. Okay, Elon Musk has paid at most 11 billion in taxes in 1 year. That's the higher end limit. So $11 billion is what they're looking for to solve this problem. But we cut 50 billion, we cut 100 billion. Oh, this is not basically nothing. What's the point? These people are insane. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
They don't have a working model of how our government even functions. They just want to tax the rich. They listen to these things that sound good. They don't even understand basic governance. They're just power hungry. They're partisans. They
just have to be right at all costs. Yeah, they have to be right at all costs, and they refuse to hold to their own comparisons and are intrinsically hypocritical because of that. It's just what you described. We need them to pay $10 billion in taxes. Nine mega billionaires that we have in the United States, we need their $10 billion collectively, $100 billion. But when Doge finds $200 billion in cuts, well, we're $35 trillion in debt. It's just there's never any winning. So that's why we are talking about refusing to engage with these people, because they don't even understand the concept of bad faith, because that's just who they are.
Right. Well, it's like when they hear about a net worth. Elon's net worth is, at any given day, especially with Bitcoin's having a good day, Elon's net worth is $300 billion. And they see that as just cash in a bank account that they can be, well, why don't you just use that? No, these are assets. This is Tesla stock. These are all speculative assets, really. And you combine them together. This includes the value of the Tesla buildings, the Tesla factories, the Teslas in the lots at those dealerships. This isn't just cash sitting aside. So they'll be, oh, the CEO got paid $30 billion this year, but he can't pay for all of the health care of the employees or whatever. They don't actually understand how the finances and economics work here, because that $30 billion, and this might surprise some people, a lot of CEOs get salaries that are not that impressive. They get like $100,000 a year salary, and then they get a package that is stock, right? So if you want to access that money, you actually have to sell the stock.
Well, a lot of them are living off dividends and interest and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cash. It's not cash compensation, but they don't understand the difference between that. I think most people don't. And I've made this analogy before. This is my favorite analogy for the issue. The NFL doesn't even let a pure Democratic vote decide their MVP. They have sports writers that make up a certain percentage. I think the fan vote makes up 40% of the decision. They would never open this up. Something is inconsequential. It's consequential for the athletes, I guess, but for the general public, it's not very consequential who's the NFL MVP. But they're not going to let just everyone vote, because some people haven't watched a game this season. Some people are just going to vote for their hometown quarterback because they like him, right? We want to actually have some merit and quality votes going into this system. And this is becoming an issue on the national level for us, something as consequential as the presidency. We have people who don't understand the system. We have people who don't understand the Electoral College. They don't understand the economics behind anything. They go with the flow. They go with the majority. And this is what I think terrifies the Democrats, is that as they lose that ability to say, oh, well, we won the popular vote, we're really the majority, there's a number of people who just go along with whatever they believe the majority is. This is why they use polls. This is why they use studies. It's why they throw those up on TV all the time, because it's not about what people actually think are reflecting reality. It's about convincing you that you're in the majority if you think this way. The Democrats are in a rough spot, because as they lose that majority, there's going to be people who just, oh, I'm just, I just vote with the side that's winning. There's a lot of people who do that. That's a very normal thing.
Well, I think that's why they're resorting to violence. Because like the actual realization of losing the popular vote is setting in. The last couple months they've tried to just continue on as if they're the majority, and now they're losing. They're losing around every bend. Like ICE is still here, mass deportations are happening. Blah 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 blah. RFK is talking about autism, just like grinding everybody's gears. That's why they're resorting to violence now.
Well, it's telling also that most Democrats just take an immediate oppositional position, and maybe you can play the Don Lemon clip here.
So, what's the point here? The president is not an immigrant. He's a second-generation immigrant. His wife is a first-generation immigrant. All of his children are second-generation immigrants. He's a second-generation immigrant.
That's like saying that I am.
His wife is a first-generation immigrant.
That's like saying that
all of his children are
so he's a descendant of an immigrant.
He is a second-generation immigrant.
Okay, that's like saying
his
that I'm
wife
an
is a
enslaved
first-generation
person.
immigrant.
You would say that I'm an enslaved person.
No, it's not,
I'm
because you're not 2 generations away from an enslaved person.
How do you know?
Because nobody was enslaved 2 generations ago.
Yes, they were. There were people who were enslaved and indentured servants 2 generations ago.
There was not chattel slavery 2 generations ago.
Slavery was abolished 200 years ago?
In the North, slavery was abolished in 1804, 5 years before Lincoln was even born. And in the South, it was abolished in 1860.
The 13th Amendment, there's a specific clause in the 13th Amendment. When you break the law, you become a fucking slave.
My mother was born in the 40s. My grandmother was born in the early 1900s, and before that, those descendants were slaves.
Were either of them a slave?
Yes, no, but my great-grandmother was a slave.
Cam Higbee describes Donald Trump as a second-generation immigrant. And Don Lemon, well, he's not an immigrant. He's not the same side that's always said we're all immigrants. It doesn't matter if you've been here 6, 7, 8 generations. It doesn't matter if you've been here since the settlers that came off of the first boats. You're an immigrant because you can trace it back. Yet with Trump, they have to take an oppositional position. They cannot agree with a Trump supporter on anything. This is degrading the quality, the intelligence of the average Democrat is completely lost. It's over, and it's something that I think is awesome to see from our perspective, because we're just winning on every front. These people, it's just like how they say, oh, Republicans have the White House, they have the House, they have the Senate. If that premise was true, if we didn't need Democrats to vote for anything, then there wouldn't be a government shutdown. It's on its face ridiculous. It's just like these lies that I don't fault. I posted this earlier this week. I don't fault people for not catching every lie that the media and political complex puts out, but some of them are just so dumb that if you do believe it, there is something wrong. I don't need to research to know that illegals drain more than they contribute. That's on its face obvious. It's blatant. Oh, the illegal immigrants commit less crime than the average American. Every illegal immigrant is here illegally.
Well, this is the perfect segue. I will play some of that other Don Lemon clip, but this is another one that I saw today, and you're going to be shocked. It's even worse than the Cam Higbee.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we have
levels.
different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
No, you're not breaking the law.
The misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules that processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up.
You guys are getting things mixed up.
To be clear, I'm gonna put my attorney label on real quick. A misdemeanor is in fact a crime. It is in fact a crime. All misdemeanors are in fact crimes. This is perhaps Don Lemon's dumbest clip. You're breaking rules. Where's that rule written? Is it a statute? Are not all statutes laws? We're talking about. I've heard slightly better versions of this argument where people say, "Oh, why are we deporting people for a civil offense?" Well, just so you also know, if you ever hear this, deportation is a civil remedy. So it's not a criminal penalty to get deported. It's a civil remedy. You came over illegally, you get deported. It's the same thing. This is hilariously stupid. But I kind of feel blessed that we get Don Lemon without writers, because you can see how dumb these people on mainstream media are without their teams.
Yeah.
That's why they don't succeed in independent media. That's why they don't find the same success as they do when they have that little CNN logo down here. Could you imagine if we had a little mainstream news outlet here, right here?
We'd have millions of viewers. They'd love us.
A misdemeanor is in fact a crime.
Isn't that crazy? I knew you'd like that one,
felony,
dude.
For those who want to know, a basic distinction between the two. Misdemeanors are punishable by less than a year in prison or in jail, and felonies are for over a year in prison.
Really? That's the difference?
That's the major distinction.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day here on PentupleTV.
Yes. How hilarious it is that he says, "No, you're breaking rules, but not necessarily the law. But it's just a misdemeanor. We have different levels of crime, but that's not a crime." All of it is just so ridiculous.
You guys are playing semantics. That's what he says to them.
Yeah.
You guys are playing semantics. Well, I'm literally playing semantics over trying to say that like breaking the law isn't illegal.
I think it would be embarrassing for I was gonna say first year, but I'll say first day law student to speak so assertively and not understand that a misdemeanor is a crime. A misdemeanor. Let me just emphasize this for the audience. Because not everyone deals with legal terminology every day. A misdemeanor is always a crime. It is a crime. It literally is a crime. You are breaking the law. You can call them rules, but they're statutes. It says you are breaking the law. And this is federal law in many cases that they're breaking. I don't know the exact citation. I know I should remember because I keep hearing Cam Higbee say in his debates. By the way, shout out to Cam Higbee. I've been loving his content lately. I just wanted to sneak that in there. Yes, Don Lemon, it is in fact a crime.
Calling it even like kidnapping. They're kidnapping these people and then sending them home. I don't know of any kidnappers that take people off the street and put them back where they came from.
This is Don Lemon, his level of intellect, clearly, because that other clip I referenced where he's talking about immigrants. These are just great examples of how they take an oppositional position just naturally. You're not actually engaging with anyone in good faith. And Asmongold talked about this is why he doesn't do debates, because you can't debate with a liar.
To go debate with them again after someone in chat mentioned a debate. I don't really like debating with people or like arguing with people. The reason why is because I think that usually debates are something that is mainly for the audience, and most people don't approach them in a fair way. And I've noticed this a lot. I think that like what really kind of was the black pill for me for it was actually Destiny. Because I would watch all of these compilations of Destiny getting owned in debates, and it would just be somebody talking and calling Destiny stupid, and then Destiny is about to talk, and then the clip ends. And so I think to myself, it's like, is this really something that I want to invest my time into?
You can't debate with somebody who's just obsessed with being oppositional. You have to actually have some sort of mutual interest in pursuit of the truth. When you just posture in the opposite position and just stick your feet in the mud there, like we're seeing in these Don Lemon clips, which are so emblematic of the modern left, there's really no purpose in debates. And this is something that we've noticed basically all year. These people are never going to appreciate Trump. Even if we get through this entire peace agreement between Israel and Hamas, we get through all the way, have a complete resolution of the conflict, they're just not going to talk about it. They're never going to give him credit. They're never going to acknowledge that he actually did anything good. They'll either not mention it or find a reason to complain about it. These people are not honest. And it's time for us to actually move forward from the debate of what we're going to do to how we're going to do it. If we leave all of these debates to the next generation, we've done nothing. Serving debate has no purpose if the point of the debate is just to be oppositional. We have to actually progress and make decisions. And I think it's fair to say we've won the debate. Nobody didn't hear about January 6th, for example, which is still something that we see Democrats run to all of the time because they think it's this winning argument. We've already seen that fail. Nobody missed that, by the way. Nobody's in 2025 hearing about January 6th for the first time. It's failed in its purpose, its narrative purpose of preventing Trump from entering the White House again. But it's the sunk cost fallacy, really. They've invested so much into their argument on January 6th that it actually gave us the popular vote. People voted in Trump again, despite the Jan 6 argument. These people have no idea. They truly have no idea how far behind they are.
I do think that we have to like take it back a little bit and make it more of like a meme and a joke, stuff like that too, because they want to blow it up into this, like, try to make it like this event on par with 9/11. And again, like what you were talking about, like you can't really debate with people, that are liars or whatever. That last debate that I did about January 6th, 5 years after the fact, that's what I was saying to them. Like, we can't have a discussion about this because we're coming from different foundations. You keep talking about this democracy that you're trying to protect, and I'm telling you, we don't have a democracy. This isn't mob rule. So no, I don't have any reason to protect your version of democracy that you're screaming about right now.
It's them trying to use our principles against us. Like when they take up this position, people were beating up cops. What do you think happened during the entire BLM riots? What is happening right now with ICE in nearly every major city? These are the people that hate cops and are constantly attacking cops, throwing bricks at these vehicles in LA. I know we remember that. These people think that they can use it against us. That's the only reason that they have these principles. The same thing with freedom of speech. They think that we're going to hear this and go, oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you're right. As if they're not the ones that are far more egregious on that. How long did January 6th last? 4 or 5 hours? I mean, genuinely, this
home for dinner.
Entire summer of riots. Yeah, everyone was home before dinner. Everyone's grandma was home before dinner. We're talking about an insurrection. that lasted before the sun went down. It's like we forgot about Chaz Chop. It's like we forget about all the riots happening in LA. It's like we forget about what's happening right now in Portland. These are people that they were attacking cops, so we're so principled about that. They try to. The only reason that they adopt these narratives is because they think it's going to work on people on our side. It's the same people that were saying, "Oh, the Constitution's outdated. Oh, we don't need the Second Amendment." Now they're like, "Well, actually, Trump's the worst president for the Constitution." They think that people on our side are as dumb as the people on their side. They try to use our principles against us. This is just another example with the whole, January 6th, don't you care? Oh, he pardoned people who beat up cops. Don't even play this with me. I do not want to hear a Democrat who's excusing the 2020 riots, excusing the LA riots, excusing what's happening in Portland and Chicago right now, throwing literal bricks over the overpass at officer vehicles. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't do this. It's the same way. Trump's indicting his political opponents. You guys tried to put Trump in prison for over 700 years.
Bookkeeping errors.
It's over. They've shown their hand. These people are power hungry. They're not principled, and they're trying to use our principles against us. They're trying to convince us that they're on our side now. Well, it's just complete nonsense. It's confusing. It's almost hilariously stupid. It's a terrible strategy, and I think it is evidence that they are basically done. Like, tired of winning is coming soon.
Well, hopefully we get round 2 in 2028. Are you ready for this? Let's pray for round 2 in 2028.
I am so proud of all of you. You know how privileged I feel to have been educated at Howard University. Amen. There is so much about everything I have achieved, and I've been the first to do many things because of being here when I was your age, knowing that everything that I'm being told and can feel tells us we can be and do anything, that we expect you to be leaders locally, statewide, nationally, and internationally. And especially at this period in time, I want that you all know our country and our world needs you all. We need you. So you be strong, you feed these big brains of yours. You make friends who are going to be, by the way, friends of yours for life. And enjoy this. And know how special you are and how much we need you. That's what I want for you. That's what I need from you. All right? Yeah!
So condescending, dude. She's so condescending.
I don't even think she's trying to be condescending, but I can't unsee this after I noticed this. She's constantly speaking as if she's trying to replicate the way she was spoken to when she was 5 years old. Like, this is what she heard as a 5-year-old kid, as a 10-year-old kid.
Right.
Who's like, walking around in elementary school. This is how adults speak to children. And she's just forever adopted that. She's never realized that that's how you talk to a 5-year-old. This is not how actual people speak. It's all feel good and nice because you don't have to actually explain anything to a 5-year-old. It doesn't matter. You just need to not upset them. And that's what she's doing. She's just trying to be like all fun and happy and stuff. And it's unreal. And this bitch's sloshed caption is hilarious because I normally we'll see captions like that, especially with politicians, and it's like they're not drunk. It's just like, a moment. Like, I actually do fully believe that she's hammered in these clips. Like, she's got to be on something. If I was a cop, I'd give her a sobriety stop.
Frost posted this today. Did you see this? Just another normal day in beautiful, diverse England.
Had to write a song here. We can't get flagged for copyright. But LOL, look at these invaders just smashing each other with machetes. Horrible form. Horrible form.
It's like fucking Skyrim in real life, dude.
Yeah, well, it's funny to point out
Dual
because
wielding.
people will point out like gun violence in America, but you take the guns out of your hands, you just have machetes now, and that's. I'm more terrified of a person walking around with a machete than a person walking around with a gun.
That was a statistic I heard a long time ago. Yeah, statistics I heard a long time ago is that people are more likely to fight back with somebody with a gun, less likely to fight back with somebody with a knife.
Yeah. The UK is cooked. I mean, I'd rather have a gun than a machete, but it's just, it's insane that they think like, oh, if we just got the guns out, people wouldn't be violent. People wouldn't, there wouldn't be any attacks at all. Nothing bad would ever happen. You just got rid of guns. Which, I mean, you get into the whole discussion about it. Most gun deaths are suicides. There's a lot of defensive gun uses. I don't know how many defensive machete uses there are. This looked like maybe one of them, but
more people die in Europe of heat stroke during the summer than American gun deaths. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. Is that real?
Yeah, that's real. They can't take 80 degrees, dude. They die, drop dead. So
that's insane. Why don't they have air conditioning? That's crazy.
Because they don't have a power grid, like an American power grid. They can't do it.
Yeah, because they were all built like 800 years ago or before.
Right. Yeah. It's like thousands of dollars to run a little air conditioning unit in your window. Failed state. And it's funny that they're getting a front row seat to it too, right? Like this is what happens when you take away the population's right to defend themselves and then import a bunch of people who aren't culturally assimilated. Right. But this is what I want to end on. Us talking about how we're not going to consort with retards.
Okay, so to my non-asshole white-passing men, how do we signal to each other that we did not vote for Trump?
All right, dude, we got you. Check this shit out. This is easy. Really easy to do.
We got to keep that energy. Fucking dorks.
You're getting
clipped. Fuck off. Fucking dorks. For real.
You're getting clipped. It's so over.
That's fine.
If you leave that in.
Oh, I'm leaving it in. I'm going to zoom in on it. Fucking dorks.
Why do you need to signal this anyway? What are you worried about? Nobody cares.
They're living in this like... They've constructed this like Hollywood fucking like they truly think that they're like Harry Potter, dude. Like they are at Hogwarts. They are fighting Voldemort. They are the rebellion to the Empire.
Well, it's funny because
they are all of those
we wear
things.
Our MAGA hats proudly. We wear our Trump shirts proudly. We don't care, but we actually do. Especially back in the day, not as much anymore. Now I just get nods and thumbs up, honestly. But I remember the days where when I would wear my MAGA hat, people would come up and yell at me. People would literally scream at me. That happened to me at a Chipotle one time when I was with a girl. It's hilarious. But they're like, oh, how do we seek our secret resistance? Nobody cares that you're a Democrat. Nobody cares that you're a liberal.
No.
Nobody ever has cared. You're not on the side that's been accused of heinous beliefs, of being a Nazi, of all these insane things. What do you need to signal this for? It's insane. It's hilarious though. It's funny. I love that. Love that video.
Fucking dorks. That's it for Penn and Sadie Save the World episode 2. Oh, you muted, retard. Oh no. Dude, look, perfect. Look, his mic went out. We have to stop. It's over.
So like and subscribe so I can buy a new microphone. Thank you for watching episode 2 of Penn and Sadie Save the World.
Penn and Sadie Save